welcome to the Spectrum in Philadelphia for Game 4 of this Eastern Conference semifinal series between the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. The other half of New York trailing the Pistons 2-1, hoping to even that series later this afternoon, and certainly that's the same objective that the 76ers have here this afternoon. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown along with Tommy Heinsohn, and from all of us here at CBS Sports to mothers everywhere, happy Mother's Day. And Tommy, the late breaking news involving the Chicago Bulls, they will be without starting small forward Scottie Pippen back home in Arkansas attending the funeral arrangements for his deceased father. Now, Chicago was hoping to put themselves in a driver's seat today, but that task will certainly be made much more difficult.
Well, without Scottie Pippen, they're really at a disadvantage. They've relied a great deal all season long on the speed, getting three people up fast on their fast break. Although Phil Jackson right now still has a card up his sleeve, and that card is Michael Jordan at the quick forward spot. Won't that be fun?
Well, the ace for Philadelphia Friday night was Charles Barkley, 34 points, 20 rebounds, 8 assists. But I would imagine Philadelphia can't lull themselves into a false sense of confidence because Scottie Pippen is not here.
No, and I think Charles Barkley has to once again get in close to the hoop early in the game, dominate the offensive rebound department that he did so effectively. That created a great emotional lift for the other two key players, I feel, for the Sixers, Johnny Dawkins and Hersey Hawkins. They got off and
team Philadelphia threw its weight around quite effectively on Friday night. And with more on the Philadelphia 76ers, let's go to the other member of our announced crew, Jim Gray.
James, the 76ers have instituted a no layup rule, and as Charles Barkley told me plain and simply, that means any Bull running down the lane with an easy layup is going to be laid out flat out on. Now, the league is very concerned with this action, and they've issued a warning to the 76ers, but so far, they haven't stopped. Now, I spoke with Michael Jordan, and he told me he's very unhappy with the Sixers' style of play.
Basketball. It's not the basketball that I grew up playing, but it's new technology. You gotta grow with what the flow is. And you know, they're beating us going to the hole, and we can't be passive. We got to play the same game, and just to get ourselves back into it.
Jordan and the Bulls say they will not be intimidated by the Sixers' style of play. However, they are concerned that someone might get hurt. But you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and the Sixers say they're playing within the rules. James?
So the stage is set for the running of the Bulls from Chicago against the Broad Street Bullies of Philadelphia. Starting lineups when we come back.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Miller Lite's Tour de Light, the race to win America's favorite light beer. Fram oil filters. Fram. You can pay a little now or a lot later. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
This Eastern Conference semifinal series, the starting lineups for both teams. Of course, the change for the Chicago Bulls, Stacey King, and for the absent Scottie Pippen, same lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers. Head coach of the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson. And the head man for the 76ers, Jim Lynam from nearby St. Joseph's. As far as the 76ers are concerned, Tommy, there is no place like home, and they plan to try and prove that today. The officials for today's contest, Earl Strom, the veteran, of course, Bill Oakes, and Jack Neves.
Well, Barkley has to not let the double teams that were so effective in Chicago take the ball out of his hands. He did not do that on Friday night. Very effective early.
Jaminski controlling the tap for the 76ers. This is Johnny Dawkins. Into Charles Barkley, who was simply a man on Friday night, starting off early with the basket.
Well, you put him down there on the baseline and get a pick for him. Awfully difficult to double team.
Jordan over Hawkins, and Michael Jordan getting off early. 5 of 6 misses from the floor in the first quarter on Friday night. He starts off quickly today.
And that also was a key to the early good start of the Sixers. But Michael Jordan hitting from the outside, very, very good sign for the Bulls. Here's the double team developing. He tries to slide. He gets set up. He ends up on the. That's what he was not doing out in Chicago, making quick moves to the potential double teams.
Just a monumental effort on Friday night. Charles Barkley, as I mentioned at the top, 50 rebounds, 10 of those off of the offensive glass, and led the way offensively with 8 assists.
You know, he's sometimes it's bad. But boy, did they feed off it.
And what was bad there, Charles Barkley 0 for 2 at the free throw line. And Stacey King picks up his second personal foul, team second for the Chicago Bulls. King, of course, hoping to get off quickly today in place of Scottie Pippen. Dawkins being defended by John Paxson. Over Paxson.
Johnny Dawkins needs a lot of confidence. He was hitting wide open jumpers out in Chicago on the doubling of Charles Barkley. Now they're letting him go for his shot unimpeded.
He had 16 on Friday night. Michael Jordan misses the 3, rebounded by Barkley. This is what he did Friday, starting the break to Hawkins.
And John Paxson right down, trying to take a charge, but right over the top. What a strong shot.
A quick 6-2 lead by the Sixers. Grant. Jaminski with the rebound.
Right now, here comes the speed of the Sixers, boy, and that's where it was so effective. Barkley rebounding, pushing it up the court after the rebound, much like Magic Johnson with the Lakers off the rebound, and there's 4 of them up there fast. That's where the speed advantage right now, without Pippen being in, might show up.
A nice controlled shot by Hawkins. This is Stacey King operating on Mahorn. Rick with the rebound. Dawkins most effective when he's penetrating as well, Tommy, creating for the offense. Barkley operating on Horace Grant. And Charles very careless with passes on Friday night. 5 left on the shot clock. Jaminski.
Mike Jaminski is a weapon in the potentially in this game, and certainly was the other night with that outside shot.
Phil Jackson signals for a 20-second timeout as the Sixers have not missed from the field. 4 of 4. And Philadelphia too pleased to be back home. Game 1 in Chicago, all Chicago. They won it by 11. Michael Jordan 39 points. Game 2 the same as Chicago, moved out and won that one 101-96. Jordan 45 points. Game 3 back home completely different. Charles Barkley dominated from start to finish, both ends of the floor. 2-1 lead. Michael Jordan averaging 44 points in the series as he had 49 on Friday night.
Well, he has taken his team on his shoulders, but they were not able in Game 3 to play their type of basketball, running aggressive basketball. And they need to try and do that this afternoon. Get Jordan loose and Grant loose in the open court.
Key matchups for Chicago. Horace Grant on Barkley and King being defended by Mahorn. Jordan, always a key person, period. Michael Jordan with 4 points in the early going, and it's an 8-4 Philadelphia lead. Jaminski posting up with Stacey King. Left-handed hook shot by Mike Jaminski wasn't pretty, but effective.
Well, he's working against the rookie, and they decided to test him in the low post. That's not one of his real strong points, but against the rookie, it might be.
Philadelphia yet to miss from the field, 5 of 5. Here's King with the running left-handed hook. Cartwright rebound and scores over top of Jaminski. Bill Cartwright did not score a point Friday night. 0 for 2 from the floor in 27 minutes of action. Need more production from him.
Well, they got to get him the ball, but the Sixers were double-teaming him in the low post. He's not real good beating that double team.
Jaminski with the second jump hook shot. This one with the right hand.
He's got a height advantage on Stacey King. They may end up having to double Jaminski in the low post, and that'll turn Barkley and the Sixer guards loose.
I don't think Jaminski forgot how abused he was by King in Chicago in Game 2 as Bill Cartwright is called for steps. Turnover Chicago, ball Philadelphia.
Jaminski's low post defense was suspect out in Chicago. They helped him out when the ball went in against Cartwright in Game 3 by doubling down. That time they didn't quite do it.
Hawkins into Jaminski, who's 3 of 3 from the floor. Dawkins penetrating where he's effective. Out to G-Man. Rebound, Mahorn. Barkley. Foul by Horace Grant. First personal foul on Horace Grant, third team foul.
This is where Barkley was immense in the third game. Mahorn puts it back off the glass, and Barkley really carves out space. That's where he punishes you.
And an offensive foul called on Hersey Hawkins. That's his first personal foul. 7:58 remaining in the first quarter as Jim Lynam, head coach of the 76ers, looking on his team out to a 12-6 lead in the early going. James Brown along with Tom Heinsohn and Jim Gray for game 4 here in Philadelphia. King trying to use his quickness on Mahorn effectively that time.
He is a beautiful, and I say beautiful, low post player. Very few players have come into the league in their rookie year and dominated down over the box as well as Stacey King has.
Said he was always quick going to his left, developed a right move. Credits Tex Winter. And this is Mike Jaminski, rebounded by Grant. Chicago much prefers an up-tempo game. Jordan to King.
King, the power forward, out
and
on the wing, and that's a good sign for the Bulls.
Excuse me, Tommy. Rick Mahorn had his ankle stepped on that time. He's limping very badly and taking himself out of the offensive play to the bottom right of your screen. Trying to run it off. Mahorn passes inside to Jaminski. Mike Jaminski with 8 first-quarter points.
What a surprise. Jaminski usually effective in this series from 18 feet. Now he's scoring inside.
Jordan. A concentrated effort on Jordan's part, concerted effort to get off in the first quarter, unlike Friday night where he coasted through the first 2 quarters.
And I think it's a good move on Jordan's part to establish what he's going to do early to help the emotion of his ball club.
Happy Mother's Day to my sisters and my other family.
You're going to see Rick Mahorn right now coming in for the rebound and just twisting his knee as there was a collision. Let's look at it from another angle. Gets entwined and got hurt.
Well, Tommy, we'll find out how badly. Let's go over to Jim Gray with the report from the Sixers bench. Jimmy?
Okay, James, what happened to Rick Mahorn is he sprained the inside of his left knee. He's grimacing. He's having trouble putting any weight on it. Now, Tony Harris, the Sixers trainer, is working with him. Mahorn just told me that he's all right. It's just really sore. He thinks he'll be back.
All right, Jim. And Rick Mahorn, of course, hurt that right knee on Friday night, and now today the left knee.
Well, he's an important player, no doubt about it, to provide that banging that has caused concern to the Bulls. The intimidator that has at times taken the Bulls out of thinking of what they're supposed to do and worrying about him.
Ed Neely into the lineup now for the Chicago Bulls, replacing Stacey King, and Jordan comes over to block Barkley's shot, and Horace Grant aggressively on the boards. This is Michael.
Great move by Jordan, a little double pick up high, so on the up quick, Jordan just gets into the gut of the Sixer defense.
Michael Jordan with 8 first-quarter points, had 16 in the first half on Friday night, obviously more determined here this afternoon. Ron Anderson for 3. That's his role off the bench for Philadelphia to score from the outside.
He's a great fast break player, and he can put it on the floor and also shoot threes.
Bill Cartwright can't get the roll. Jordan does, but misses the follow. This is Barkley. Out to Anderson. Good defensive rotation by Chicago. Dawkins. A 2-pointer by Johnny Dawkins, who has 4 points, 16 he scored on Friday.
Boy, they really need his outside shooting on that rotation of any kind of double teaming of Barkley.
Jordan. You wonder how this guy maintains his stamina as long and as well as he played on Friday night. He comes right back and takes matters in his own hand in the first quarter.
That's been the most amazing thing about Michael Jordan to date is his stamina. How he's been able to elevate his game, play that hard, score 40, 50 points, and still do all the other things he does.
Well, Mike Jaminski doing what he does best, scoring. He's got 10 points in the first quarter. Mike Jaminski, not your typical center. He's kind of a perimeter center.
Well, against certain people, he can get the shot off, as we saw very well in the early part of this game against Stacey King, who kind of gives him his position, but he is more known for his outside shooting ability and passing.
Cartwright.
I'll tell you a guy that's banging right now for the Bulls. That's Grant.
Mike Jaminski getting a much-deserved hand as he takes a seat on the bench, replaced by Rick Mahorn. So it's Dawkins and Hawkins in the backcourt for Philadelphia. Rick Mahorn, Ron Anderson, and Charles Barkley for the 76ers. Anderson going by Grant. Paxson with the loose ball.
Great block out that time by Neely.
And John Paxson hustling down the court for the left-handed layup, scoring his first basket of the afternoon.
That's what they have to do more of. Get Paxson, Hodges, and Michael Jordan loose on the fast break before the Philadelphia defense gets totally set up.
21-18 Philadelphia lead. 3:36 remaining in the first period. Barkley going across the middle, fouled by Ed Neely. Now, Ed Neely is a big body, 6'7", 245 pounds. He's a seventh-year vet out of Vanderbilt, and he can use his weight to lean on Barkley a bit.
He's also a very fundamentally sound player. On the last play, he blocked out Charles Barkley off the boards and really never gave him a decent shot at the offensive rebound, something that the Bulls were not doing very effectively in Game 3.
Barkley was 0 for 2 from the free throw line last time up. Yet to find the range, and he's only got 2 points. John Paxson takes a seat on the bench as B.J. Armstrong checks in for the Chicago Bulls. B.J. Armstrong, a rookie out of Iowa, and he is playing like a veteran. As Barkley finally finds the range, 1 of 4 at the free throw line. B.J. Armstrong, Bill Cartwright, Michael Jordan, Ed Neely, and Horace Grant, the 5 for the Chicago Bulls. Jordan. Barkley with the loose ball to Dawkins. Back to Barkley. Blocking foul on Michael Jordan. Count the basket for Charles Barkley.
On the long rebounds, Philadelphia's been jumping all over him and getting 4 out on the fast break very quickly. Dawkins makes a commitment to Barkley, and Jordan has to pick him up. And the bang doesn't work.
5 team fouls for Chicago. First on Jordan. And a 24-18 Sixers lead.
Playing a forward spot, and Charles Barkley, the power forward, they can throw 4 at you very quickly. Dawkins takes it to the middle. Here you're going to see Barkley, the power forward, making a strong move, and Anderson, the quick forward, in the lane. They'll throw 4 at you very fast. The Bulls had trouble getting back to protect against the fast breaks of Philadelphia in Game 3.
Sixers with a 4-point first quarter lead, 3:14 remaining. You see the numbers that Charles Barkley put up in Game 3 on Friday night. Barkley improving at the free throw line, 2 of 5 now. He's got 6 points. Michael Jordan has taken 8 of the Bulls' 17 shots. He's only made 5. Horace Grant working hard to free himself, defended by Ron Anderson right on top of him. Tough shot by Horace Grant.
Well, the Sixers have a speed advantage, but the Bulls have a size advantage at the forward spot right now, and they went right to it.
B.J. Armstrong defending Johnny Dawkins. Anderson pushed out high by Neely. Should be a quickness advantage here for Anderson. Dawkins penetrating and scores. So Johnny Dawkins, when the opportunity presents itself, taking advantage of it.
You don't always have to take the outside shot against the doubling defense. On the rotation, you can penetrate just like Dawkins did.
2 veterans going at each other, Cartwright and Mahorn. Great hustle by Horace Grant, who throws it away. Was being upended by Ron Anderson. But Grant showing real good aggressiveness on the boards, Tommy.
Now they're trying to get Grant more involved in the offense, too. He's not one of their prime options and hasn't been, but maybe will be today.
Well, someone's going to have to step to the floor with Scottie Pippen out his 20 points at home. Rick Mahorn can't get the roll. Jordan with the rebound. Nice pass to Ed Neely. So the big fella, Ed Neely, lumbering down court, open for the shot.
Boy, and he took Barkley right off the boards, and Barkley got knocked off his feet. That's why he was wide open for the layup up the other end.
Chicago determined to keep the game close, Tommy, so that they can keep it close. They know they are very confident down the stretch against the 76ers. Anderson. Loose ball foul as Charles Barkley gets the rebound, but pushes first. Barkley picks up his first personal foul.
Watch the fight for position. Michael Jordan ends up with Barkley, trying to keep him away from the boards, a man-sized job. And Jordan gave the direction the foul should go. It's ours.
14 fouls on Philadelphia. 1:20 remaining in the first quarter. Dawkins with the steal. A 1-on-2, and Will Perdue picks up the foul.
Great weak side defense that time by Johnny Dawkins. On the swing of the ball, he was already out in the passing lane, and Will Perdue should not have thrown that pass.
Will Perdue, number 32, into the lineup for Chicago, second-year player out of Vanderbilt. This is Johnny Dawkins. Dawkins was very upset with himself Friday night when Chicago applied that full court pressure in the second half. Dawkins felt he should have handled the press a lot better.
Well, I don't think Philadelphia in the fourth quarter really attacked the basket. The best way to beat a press defense is get layups. That means go for the hoop. Wow, it's like a bowling match.
Mahorn took down 2 players, but Perdue gets up and comes away with the rebound. Jordan for 3. Barkley with the rebound. Number 4. And Chicago does a good job of getting back. 2 superstars on each other. Mahorn. Going to check the backboard after that shot.
That was a brick.
Cinder block. 41 seconds remaining. Chicago trailing by 6. Grant has the position on Anderson. And the shot. So Horace Grant getting off quickly. Has dropped in 4 points. Very aggressive on the boards. And Chicago trailing by just 4.
Chicago really likes to use the best matchup advantage. Usually it's Jordan, but last couple of trips up, it's been Grant.
Charles Barkley asking for a little help from the officials as Ed Neely is bodying him up every opportunity. Bad pass by Dawkins, stolen by Chicago. Under 10 in the first quarter. Perdue on a nice pass from Michael Jordan. So Michael, although not accurate from the field, certainly playing playmaker. Hawkins fouled by Will Perdue. So Hersey Hawkins challenging the 7-foot Will Perdue, and Perdue picks up his second personal foul.
Phil Jackson is rotating his people. Will Perdue was up the other end and almost had a tip-in on that fast break. And yet gets back to create problems for Hersey Hawkins. That's not an easy run for Will Perdue.
Hersey Hawkins with 3 points in the first quarter. Had 27 on Friday night, 19 in the first half.
Hersey Hawkins has come into this year's playoffs with a world more of confidence than he had last year. He talked himself out of a good series against New York, in my opinion. Right now, he feels he can make anything.
Jordan pushes off, but can't find the range, and that's the end of the first period of play here in Philadelphia with the score. The 76ers lead it 30-26. We'll be back with second quarter action after this.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs is sponsored by The Good Time, Great Taste of McDonald's. Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. And by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA.
A well-played first quarter here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Sixers nursing only a 4-point lead over Chicago, 30-26. And Tommy, a big difference from Friday night when the Sixers just exploded in the first quarter, got the lead up to double digits, high double digits at that. Chicago, good job.
You'd have to say that this is just the type of quarter that they wanted to play. They took the emotion away from Philadelphia. They played an up-tempo game. Jordan got out in the open court, and they were able to use some good inside mismatches, establishing those with Grant. So you'd have to say right now, Phil Jackson has to be a happy guy.
And as you look at how action in the first quarter sets up things for the fourth quarter, Chicago has a deeper bench. Philadelphia generally only goes 6 and maybe 7 deep because, of course, Derek Smith is out injured.
The first guys that really break down in an up-tempo game are the big guys. So look at Mahorn, look at Mike Jaminski, and Jimmy Lynam is going to have to really be watching those guys as this tempo progresses.
Scott Brooks into the lineup for the 76ers, along with Craig Hodges for the Chicago Bulls. This is B.J. Armstrong. Barkley, aggressive rebound. Number 5.
Oh, what a great defensive job by Will Perdue just to get down there and take that angle of attack away from Barkley.
Mahorn with Neely defending, and he walked. So Mahorn trying to get a little too fancy on the pivot move. Gets called for traveling.
Boy, and Neely had some space between him and Mahorn, and he was playing him to the middle. Good defense that time by Neely.
B.J. Armstrong, Horace Grant, Ed Neely, Will Perdue, and Craig Hodges, the 5 on the floor for Chicago. Shot by Perdue is short. And Chicago doing a good job of getting back on D.
They sure are, and I'll tell you, Perdue is #1 in that department.
Anderson with Grant defending. To Mahorn. Block and foul.
Well, getting that ball through on the baseline has to be a miracle because there were all kind of red jerseys right there, but they did. And the Bulls produced their own version of the no layup rule. They just banged Mahorn.
Ed Neely picked up his first personal foul. Rick Mahorn, a 71% free throw shooter.
They looked to Mahorn as the guy that really turned his team around. They were surprised that he was as good defensively as he really turned out to be. He's become their defensive quarterback.
And Philadelphia is 7 of 11 at the free throw line, while Chicago has yet to take a trip to the charity stripe. Anderson with the steal. Nice pass. Hawkins has it stripped by Hodges. Craig Hodges missed about 15 games down the stretch of the season because of a sprained back, and he throws this one away as Anderson, with an alert defensive play, comes up with the steal. Scott Brooks, a second-year player out of Cal Irvine, small but tough and can nail the three-point shot.
Jimmy Lynam describes him as disruptive. That's what he is, the disruptor.
And a nice shot by Hersey Hawkins.
That's a matchup the Sixers have been using against Craig Hodges, letting Hawkins go to the hoop against Hodges.
Biggest lead of the game for the 76ers, 34-26. 9:50 remaining in the half. Perdue off the mark. Neely with the rebound, back to Perdue. And Will Perdue got a lot of playing time when Bill Cartwright was out for 11 games. He and Stacey King both giving him a little bit more confidence.
He's one of those projects that have landed before their time.
Matter of fact, Chicago was 9-2 when Cartwright was out for those 11 games injured. Anderson.
He's a two-position player, going to be very important in this series before it's over.
Perdue spins by Mahorn and scores the continuation basket.
Will Perdue is really a very decent low post player. He's got some moves and he's got usually a good shooting touch down there.
A break in the action. Chicago trailing by 6.
Welcome back to the Spectrum. The 76ers lead by 6 here in the second period. On Thursday, Sixers general manager John Nash resigned. So far, Sixers owner Harold Katz has yet to accept that resignation. He spoke to the media on Friday and was quite irritated.
I mean, you guys put your money up. I'd like to see you guys go out and put your money up and then sit back and not make a decision. That's bullshit. It's flat out bullshit. And I've taken 9 years of your bullshit, and I'm tired of it.
Harold, we just heard you talking to the media. John Nash wants to leave. You don't want him to. What's going on here?
Well, I think that John has not thought this out. I think in the last 2 weeks, he's reconsidered. We're going to sit down and talk after the playoffs, and hopefully John will stay. I want John back. He's done a fantastic job for us. I think John got burned out, and he came to me 3 weeks ago, told me about it. I said, John, reconsider it, think about it, and then the media leaked it. During that period of time, I think John has reconsidered. We will sit down afterwards.
We will follow the saga. Thank you, Harold Katz.
All right, Jim, and indeed the saga will continue. Harold Katz expressing his frustration because the media had indicated that Harold was a little too involved with the franchise, not letting John Nash make decisions, and you heard his response. Will Perdue, the first free throw for Chicago in the game.
And there's the press defense that was so effective in the fourth quarter. Let's see if the Sixers are prepared to defeat it. Best way to get them to take it off is get layups.
And Chicago will give Barkley the outside shot all day long. Will Perdue has Chicago's last 7 points. Armstrong. Philadelphia ball. Scott Brooks bringing it up for Philadelphia.
Well, to harass him in the backcourt right now, that takes some clock time off the 24-second clock. Doesn't give them an awful lot of time to run their half-court offense.
And Perdue can't find the handle on the rebound off of his teammate Horace Grant. Stays Sixers ball. Mike Jaminski back in for the Sixers. He's the leading scorer for Philadelphia with 10 points. Barkley with Neely. Double clutches. The good help by the 7-footer Will Perdue forced Barkley to double clutch.
It sure did, and Barkley kind of could have taken it right through there. He's favoring the fall-away jump shot right now.
Grant. So Horace Grant using his quickness to get by the smaller Ron Anderson, and Horace Grant with 6 points. It's a 36-33 Philadelphia lead. Now the tempo, Tommy, is more to Philadelphia's liking. This is B.J. Armstrong. Nice pass back to Perdue, blocked by Barkley. Here come the Sixers. And a technical foul is called on either Will Perdue or Phil Jackson. Both were mouthing off.
But they took a layup away from the Sixers while that argument was ensuing. Phil Jackson up as Philadelphia had a real good fast break advantage. Will Perdue claiming that his shot was goaltended on that Chicago fast break thrust.
And Jack Nees promptly assessed a technical to Will Perdue. So Hersey Hawkins, an 88% free throw shooter on the regular season, will shoot the technical. And gets the familiar roll from the hometown rim.
You know, Hersey Hawkins is what I call a middle finger shooter, not an index finger shooter. Which means sometimes you're going to have bad nights because it rolls off the right side of your hand, not the left side, the thumb side. Sooner or later, when they become pros, they start working, get down and get the ball on that index finger.
The pointing finger. Jaminski, 12 points. The jump hook shot is working extremely well for Jaminski. 6 of 8 from the field.
Going one-on-one down in that low post against Perdue, the big guy.
And boy, the fans have been on Jaminski hard here in Philadelphia, so this is somewhat retribution time for him. Anderson with the rebound. And Chicago stopping the Philadelphia fast break with the double team. Thornton.
The Bulls all over the rebounder. He got the outlet out, and boy, did they get it up the floor quick.
Chicago has improved its field goal shooting, but Philadelphia is doing one better with some substitutes. Mike Jaminski, 12 points, 2 rebounds, and the Philly outside shooting, specifically Hawkins, Dawkins, and Anderson doing the job, and Philadelphia enjoys a 41-33 lead with 6:47 remaining in a half, and Phil Jackson and Will Perdue were beside themselves on this block, Tommy.
Well, you're going to see right now, fast break thrust, hard push, and Perdue on the trailer, and B.J. Armstrong, but you watch this play. That ball just was practically just a half an inch out of Perdue's hands when our guy, Charles Barkley, whopped it away. So no goaltending on that one. Just great defense by this man.
B.J. Armstrong, Craig Hodges, Stacey King, Will Perdue, and Michael Jordan, the 5 for Chicago.
And Barkley is now defending Jordan. That's a challenge.
Jordan. Scott Brooks with the loose ball. And Michael Jordan on Charles Barkley. Strength advantage clearly to Barkley. Can't get the pass into him to take advantage of it.
Too long a pass, and Michael Jordan with those quick feet right around Barkley.
Hodges.
Well, Jordan's now playing that quick forward spot, and that quickness advantage definitely ought to go to Jordan. Although, watch that matchup.
Jaminski. Mike Jaminski is on fire. 7 of 9 from the floor, 14 first half points. King being defended by Bob Thornton.
And Barkley is just trying not to let Jordan get the ball at all.
Perdue fouled on the shot. Shooting situation.
They're going to see right now Michael Jordan defending against Barkley in Barkley's turf. And the pass too long. And look at Michael Jordan really confusing Barkley and the passer as to where he is. And he just stepped around with those quick feet and picked it off. That's the best way to play a low post player, is not let him know where you are. And with those quick feet, boy, you can do some damage.
Perdue misses the second. Bob Thornton was assessed a personal foul, his first, team second for Philadelphia here in the second period. Horace Grant back into the lineup for the Chicago Bulls, replacing Will Perdue.
And Will Perdue played one great stint there. He hustled and went back, and for a center to get back and protect against fast breaks, that's a big effort.
And Perdue sits with 8 points, having scored 8. Johnny Dawkins back into the lineup for the Sixers, replacing Scott Brooks. Jordan. Grant with the rebound, fouled by Bob Thornton. So Horace Grant continues his aggressive play, going to the boards, and rewarded with the trip to the free throw line.
Well, he's being defended right now, I believe, by Ron Anderson, and Ron Anderson is not a power forward.
Anderson 6'6", giving away 4 inches to Horace Grant. Grant, only a 69% free throw shooter on the regular season, misses the first.
He was an unhappy guy a year ago with Doug Collins, and this year everybody thought he was going to be a little bit more inclined to go along with the program, but popped off a little bit before the playoffs started about contract and being part of the offense and all those same things.
That was Grant's first completed free throw in this series, 1 of 6. Chicago applying the press that really rattled Philadelphia in the second half of Friday night's game. Philadelphia had enjoyed a 27-point lead that got down to 3. Here's Barkley.
Great pass by Mike Jaminski, slid right by Stacey King.
Barkley with 8, and it's a 45-35 Philadelphia lead, and a foul called on Charles Barkley.
Watch Barkley in that low post right now as Stacey King trying to get over the top, and look at that ball right underneath Stacey King. Good lead pass for the turn of Barkley to the hoop.
And it's like the parting of the waters when Barkley gets the ball down low.
But now he's forced to play Michael Jordan. They give him a different look.
Rick Mahorn back into the lineup for the Sixers, replacing Bob Thornton, and Cartwright back in for the Bulls. So it's Stacey King, B.J. Armstrong, Bill Cartwright, Michael Jordan, and Horace Grant, the 5 for the Bulls. Jordan. Michael Jordan with 12 points in the first half, 6 of 13 from the field. And it's an 8-point Sixers lead. 4:25 remaining in the first half. Barkley on Grant. Loose ball controlled by Chicago.
Anderson is back on Michael Jordan, and he backs way off and tries to cut off the attack angle of Michael Jordan to the hoop.
Cartwright. And Grant with those sticky fingers again with the loose ball. And Mike Jaminski is going to get called for a reach-in foul. At the conclusion of our game, Tom Hanson and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game in conjunction with the award. Miller Lite will present a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. I mentioned earlier that Stacey King credits Tex Winter with helping him to develop his quick post moves. Mostly known as only a player going to his left in college, he's now dangerous both ways. And a technical foul is called, and I believe it's on Charles Barkley. So Barkley did not have any kind words on Mother's Day for Jack Nees, and he suffers the technical as a result.
You know, you talk to Jimmy Lyon, I mean, you mentions Charles Barkley, and you say he's such an emotional player, you know, criticizing his teammates and this and that. And he says, well, you look at Barkley on the court, you know he's emotional, and that emotion allows him to do great things and allows him to do some stupid things. When you get Charles Barkley, you get the whole package. And he's right.
And I'm sure his mother knows that and shared that with Bill Raftery and Pat O'Brien. 45-39 lead, Philadelphia. Dawkins on the move. Followed by Barkley, offensive goaltending. Chicago ball. Well, I mentioned about Barkley's moms, and she'll be joining Bill Raftery and Pat O'Brien coming up at halftime on the Prudential at the half. I'm sure you'll be interested to hear what she has to say about her darling son.
Yes.
King.
Boy, just a great move. One dribble to the middle, gets the defender leading that way, and then swoops back with the curl-in hook shot.
Stacey King with 7 points and is down to a 4-point Philadelphia lead. 3:15 remaining in the first half. Dawkins by Paxson and scores.
Great move by Dawkins on the swing.
Hawkins tried to slow Jordan, and it would have been the case for a mere mortal, but not for the man they call E.T. Jordan with 15 first half points.
Just don't touch his index finger, right?
Horn defended by Cartwright, and Cartwright gives him a dose of his own medicine, but a little too much, as Bill Cartwright gets whistled for the first personal foul.
Brian in New York City with a reminder that coming up on the Prudential at the half, we'll check in on our doubleheader sites where the Knicks and Pistons are getting set for Game 4 downtown, and likewise the Lakers and Suns in Phoenix. And we'll show you what it's like to have the ball in your hands as the clock winds down and the game is yours to win. All that and more at a familiar place, the Prudential at the half. Right now, let's go back to James and Tommy.
All right, Pat, and it certainly looks like they're having a lot of fun back there in New York. Chicago trailing by 4, and certainly a major key for Philadelphia today. Tommy will be defending the multifaceted one, Michael Jordan.
You got to take away the direct approach to the hoop. You're going to see this would be the direct approach to the basket. You're going to see Ron Anderson try and force Michael Jordan off, angle him off the basket, make him take a poorer percentage shot, cut off the direct route once, twice, must pull it back out. No forcing that time by Jordan. In Game 3, Jordan took some pretty tough shots for him with good defense by Anderson.
And Tommy, you commented that Philadelphia did an excellent job of defending Michael Jordan, cutting off the angles, and yet he goes out and scores 49 points, 33 in the second half, 24 in the fourth quarter.
But he didn't do it in the first half, and that's when Philadelphia got the big lead, and he scored the points on off the press defense, getting out in the open court.
Jordan, accustomed to kind of being on cruise control in the first half, obviously has shifted gears considerably here in the first half today. 2:25 remaining in the first half. Mike Jaminski, who just can't miss. You hear a number of players and coaches talk about being in the zone. Well, this may be Mike Jaminski's zone. He's got 16 first half points and has hit his last 4 shots. King and the spin moves that we've talked about so much working effectively for him.
Well, they turned him to his right hand, but he still got the left hand shot off.
4-point ball game, Sixers on top, 1:50 remaining in the first half. Hawkins has it stolen, and Rick Mahorn is going to get called for a holding foul. Michael Jordan will travel to the free throw line.
Going to see some low post moves. Jaminski takes him to the middle, draws the double team, then goes back to his left hand, and he's righty. You're going to see King right now. They're playing him to come down to the baseline, forcing him to his right hand, but he gets the left hand jump shot off. A little wrong-handed defense that time by Rick Mahorn. You got to keep your right hand up against the lefty.
Michael Jordan, 7 assists to go along with his 16 points. Make it 17. Tommy, you talked about, again, wrong-handed defense. Is it a natural move for a player to go up with the left hand, a right-handed player to go up with the left hand on defense?
Yeah, it kind of is. And against the right-handed player, you ought to have your left hand up. Your strong hand, if your right hand is your right hand naturally, you got to learn to play defense against the right-handed players with your left hand. And vice versa.
Well, you need a few hands to play against Michael Jordan. The ball didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock is down to 6 for Chicago. Paxson. Nice move by John Paxson, shooting with the offhand. And it's a tie ball game, 49-49. And just that quickly.
Good look that time by Dawkins as Hawkins had sneaked away.
And the no layup rule that we heard about at the top enforced that time as a personal foul was called on Rick Mahorn, his second personal foul, 15 foul.
All right, here's the no layup rule. Good hustle up quick basketball gets Stacey King into the paint, and Mahorn just has to foul to save 2.
Tommy, now is that dirty basketball, or has it not been going on for a while?
You know, I think it's a lot of baloney, all the stuff I'm hearing. You know, I quite frankly believe coaches in the NBA try to manipulate the media and get attention focused on something they think is going to be a problem for their ball club down the road. Now, yeah, Philadelphia is rough and tough and all the other stuff, but that has always been a part of the game. And I think one of the ideas of intimidation is not to hurt anybody, but is to get them away from what they're focusing on, the basket or anything else, their game plan, and get to play or get mad at the defender that's doing it, to lose their cool. And it's worked quite obviously with several of these teams when the Sixers have employed those, in essence, in quotes, underlined rough tactics. Every once in a while, they jump over the line.
Understand. John Paxson a little too aggressively that time, trying to prevent the penetration in the middle of Johnny Dawkins, picks up his second personal foul. Jimmy Lynam says he's really pleased with the development of Johnny Dawkins, who has taken on the leadership role necessary. Dawkins, fourth-year player out of Duke, nails both at the free throw line. Well, Rick Mahorn told you he doesn't consider it dirty. He says he's playing within the rules. He and Barkley both have said that. Jordan loses the ball. This is Dawkins, 3-on-2 to Barkley, traveling. And Michael Jordan comes down and just to make a statement, grabs that ball with both hands. That's shot by Charles Barkley. Philadelphia plagued by turnovers here in the first half. They've got 11 and hold on to only a 3-point lead. Under 30 seconds to go in the first half. Purdue make it Paxson. King with the rebound. And Jaminsky with the board. Barkley. Charles Barkley barreling to the basket, fouled by Horace Grant. Second personal foul on Horace Grant. And don't forget, coming up in 17.9 seconds, we'll have the Prudential at the half in New York, where Bill Raftery and Pat O'Brien continue to have fun and inform you.
You know, Barkley, in preparation for this series, playoffs, on the back of his sneakers, he's got written for everybody to see, kick their butt. But it's another word used for butt. Little things like that, Barkley kind of gets your attention with. But he is a competitor. And right now, he has not produced in this half as effectively as he did in Game 3.
As a matter of fact, Barkley only has 4 points in this period, total of 10.
He's not being as aggressive as he could be or as quick as he could be in his moves to the hoop.
And could have tired legs. This is the eighth playoff game in 15 days for the Sixers. Under 3 seconds, Jordan out to Hodges. And that'll do it. That's the end of the first half with the score. Philadelphia 55, Chicago 50. Pat O'Brien and Bill Raftery will be along with the Prudential at the half after this message.
CBS Sports presents The Prudential at the half. Sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
And our score at the half, the 76ers lead the Bulls 55-50. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Bill Raftery, and welcome to the Prudential at the half. And I saw Barkley, 5 and his teammates pleased with the first half, but he must be really talking to the G-Man.
He's got to be happy with him. You know, he's the spiritual leader, Barkley, but he needs some help. G-Man steps up. It takes the pressure off Charles. Mahorn's not going to score. Anderson will.
What's your report card on Stacey King?
Oh, terrific. He and Purdue have stepped up. Watch out for Michael in the fourth quarter.
Bill, it is a doubleheader day here on CBS. When we get done at the Spectrum, there's more conference semifinal action coming your way. 2 Game 4 matchups, 2 reports. We begin with Tim Brandt here in New York City.
Springtime in New York, and the focal point in the Big Apple today will be Madison Square Garden. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt in the New York Knicks locker room, and the players will be arriving here shortly for Game 4 of this best-of-7 series with the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons lead 2-1, but yesterday, New York exploded behind a career-high playoff performance by Patrick Ewing. Ewing had tenacious defense, 3 blocks, 6 assists. He was 17 of 18 from the free throw line, ended with a career-high 45 points, and the question now is, can he repeat that performance today for Game 4? On the other side of the ledger for the Pistons, Dennis Rodman, who sat out the 4th period yesterday, struggled with a stomach virus. He is much better today. He will start. He will play. Lambeer saddled with a knee problem. He, too, was questionable yesterday for this Game 4, but now we understand, although he's not 100%, he will be back and start today for the Detroit Pistons. So immediately following the Chicago-Philadelphia game, most of you will see this game in Madison Square Garden. Others will see the game between L.A. and Phoenix. What a story developing there, and here's Vern Lundquist.
Thank you. I'm here with Len Elmore, and we're outside the Lakers Hotel in Phoenix, where the Los Angeles team finds itself in a state of shock. They're down 2-1 to the Phoenix Suns. Earlier this morning, the Lakers went to the grand ballroom inside the hotel, where an entire half of a basketball court had been diagrammed in tape on the floor. They went through what they call a walkthrough, hoping to find some adjustments to the problems they encountered in losing Game 3 yesterday.
Well, we spoke with Pat Riley earlier this morning, and Pat told us the only adjustment that they wanted to make was that of attitude. A state of mind will probably dictate how his team plays. But he knows historically in the 80s, his team has had to battle back to regain that home court advantage. The only thing we have to remember is this is 1990.
On the other side of the coin, the Phoenix Suns are up 2-1, but Cotton Fitzsimmons told us yesterday after the win, as long as the Lakers have breath, they're a threat. Now let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
Gentlemen, thank you one and all. We come back, some profiles in courage, specifically the courage it takes to take the last shot. That story and more as At the Half rolls on at the buzzer after this commercial and a word from your local station. Stay with us.
Here's Mike
Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! That's the Cleveland Cavaliers!
The Chicago Bulls lead the series 2-1, but in Game 4, Philadelphia leads at the half 55-50. And welcome back to the Prudential at the Half here in our New York studios. You've seen the scenario unfold many times. The game is tight, the clock is winding down, and the pressure, well, it's on Curry Kirkpatrick to explain what goes on while you take the last shot.
Pro basketball may be the one sport where the crucial last shot, the ultimate win or lose, laugh or cry game decider, has become not only frequent, but a routine happening.
Won't start until it's clutch. They'll have to throw it up. Garher, turnaround, shot in the air. It's good!
It gives the game and its players a stage for some wonderful drama. And the key element is time. When there's plenty of time left to close the show, no problem. It's when the seconds are ticking down and the game is on the line that the real fun begins.
We were down by 1, and Joe Mulaney set up a play, and it was to get at the clutch, Mr. Clutch, and the ball ended up in my hands, and I was wide open, and I shot it, and I missed, and the crowd groaned. And then after the game, Wilt looked at me, and he said, "Why didn't you find West?" And I said, "Well, I was wide open." He says, "Why do you think you were wide open?" I said, He says, "They left you open." So I learned from that.
The clutch master of the 90s has felt the exhilaration of the winning shot so often, the act has sent him into a bewildering outburst of humility.
I live for this moment. It's just a great moment for Chicago franchise, myself, my teammates, my coaching staff. You know, it's a great effort by everybody, and one man did not do it. I just hit the game-winning shot.
The business meeting prior to the final agenda was a fascinating place for Kevin Johnson last Sunday.
All the coaches were yelling at me. That huddle was one of the all-time worst for me because I had no idea what we were going to do when we went out on the court.
KJ on the drive. In it goes to McGee. Out to KJ. 16-footer. It's good! It's good! It's good! And the Suns lead with 0.8 seconds to play.
Hugs, kisses, all kinds of emotion follow a buzzer beater. But to get there, how does a guy see the clock? Is it up there? Over there? Where is it in those rafters and banners? There it is. Mr. Commissioner, there is a true crisis here. But we have a solution. Another NBA full house. Another last-second situation. Loudspeakers hang at midcourt. A PA announcer intones the countdown so the concentration is on the basketball, not the buzzer. 32, 31.
That's a good idea, but that takes a little bit of the fun out of it.
I've seen instances where the opponents would start to count down when there was more time on the clock.
Some arenas don't have a game clock there, and the only game clock they have is right above you, and there's no way that you'll be able to tell. So in places like that, it'd be very beneficial.
As usual with these stories, the seconds are ticking down, and I've got to get out of here. Pat and Bill, there's no way I'm taking the last shot. I'm giving it up to you.
Running to change his tie is what he's doing.
With that sprint, he's a half-court player.
How do you know who to give it to, which player to give the ball to?
Well, I never had a real clutch player, but I look around, look in their eyes, and if it says not me, you pick somebody else.
Someone else. Time now for JB and Tommy to get back to work. For Bill Raftery, I'm Pat O'Brien. Thank you for joining us on the Prudential at the Half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
The Prudential at the Half has been sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock. Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by Dean Witter. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time.
A strong shooting first half by the Sixers, led by the 18 points of Mike Jaminski, has the Sixers holding on to a 5-point lead. Now, most coaches get inside of statistics, not taking them at face value. And as head coach of Philadelphia, Jim Lynam, told out Jim Gray, he's got concerns going into the second half.
Jimmy Lynam, your team leads by 5, shooting 60%, and Charles Barkley really not involved, only 10 points and 1 offensive rebound. A concern in the second half?
Well, the 2 areas I'm concerned about, we have 11 turnovers, which obviously makes it tough to put the ball in Charles' hands as much when you turn it like that, and they've kept the ball alive at their end. I think they have 9 offensive rebounds, so those 2 areas.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Welcome.
All right, and Tommy, again, I talked about that first half shooting. Philadelphia has done well.
Well, you see Mike Jaminski there having a real great ball game for him. He's been the emotional leader in this first half, not Charles Barkley. And there you see Dawkins doing his thing from the outside. And Philadelphia leading 10-16 with those outsiders. And look at the points in the paint. Jaminski to Cartwright's too. Big edge right now, making up for the lack of scoring of Barkley, and as the offensive rebounds, that was completely in Philadelphia's favor on Friday.
As a matter of fact, Tommy, the 3 concerns that Phil Jackson had coming into today's game were second shot opportunities for Philadelphia on Friday night, transition points, and points in the paint. Complete turnaround for his team, so Jimmy Lynam does, in fact, have a little bit of discomfort legitimately going into the second half.
Well, there's one good sign. Charles Barkley usually doesn't play 2 halves the same way, so if he played a poor one here, he perhaps will have a great one. But what Chicago's really done is stop the fast break of Philadelphia. Great getting back by the big people of the Bulls.
And the other side of that notion, neither does Michael Jordan. He normally doesn't play the same in 2 halves. He had 17 in the first half. He'll probably go up in the second half, and up and in goes Stacey King as he drops in the running hook for his 12th point of the afternoon.
Well, he's as nifty a low post player as I've seen come into the league.
Chicago cuts the Philadelphia lead to 3. Hawkins. And Hersey Hawkins is hit on the wrist. Earl Strong, the 32-year veteran in his final season of refereeing, used those wise old eyes. And Tommy, you've seen that a lot.
Well, I remember Earl from way back, and certainly the league is going to be missing one of the great ones because he can draw with anybody, as you're seeing right now. Gets his point across.
Did he do that as much with you as well?
He called me the yes man. Al back would jump up and say, Earl, call a foul. And I'd jump up and say, yeah, call a foul.
Well, that foul was called on Michael Jordan, his second. Team first. Go ahead, Tommy.
Last game, the Sixers really fed off Barkley's being double-teamed. They solved that problem beautifully. And the Bulls have packed it in a little bit more so that the likes of Hawkins and Dawkins cannot penetrate as effectively. And Barkley himself is having great difficulty in that area.
Hawkins gives the Sixers 5-point lead again. Cartwright. And Cartwright still not effective from down low. He has only 2 points, didn't score a point in game 3. Jordan strips Hersey Hawkins and is hammered by Rick Mahorn, so a graphic indication of the no layup rule that Philadelphia has instituted for this series.
And you know what Michael Jordan did after the hit? Blew a big bubble with his bubble gum. Didn't bother him really.
He understands
Step up to the line.
Now Jordan had indicated to our Jim Gray that he didn't grow up playing basketball this way out there on the clay courts. He said we played more finesse ball. Rick Mahorn had a nice response for him.
He said he's got to play. He should have grown up in the city. That's where you learn all this other stuff.
Well, Jordan learned everything else from somebody from Mars, indeed, because he is definitely in a world all his own. Michael Jordan dropping in his 19th point. The lead dwindled back to 3. Hawkins had to change his shot because of the excellent defense of Michael Jordan.
Not getting a shot to really get close to the basket on that penetration.
Jaminski with the rebound. This is Barkley. And Barkley bullying his way to the basket.
They are taking his right hand away from him. They're forcing him to go left, so he has to bring the ball back to the defender.
Barkley trying to get himself fired up, which in turn will prove to be contagious for the team. Cartwright, double team, Paxson, back to Cartwright. And 3 seconds called on Stacey King.
You watch Barkley on the wing coming up on the break. They take that right hand away from him, force him just an angle back. And he's got that great leaping ability, but that is the tough shot for Charles Barkley.
The excitement continues here on CBS. NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference semifinal action. Detroit and New York up in the Garden. Patrick Ewing with 45 yesterday. And out west, the Phoenix Suns have taken a 2-1 lead over the Los Angeles Lakers. And some of you will see that. Right here, an excellent game being played in the Spectrum. Game 4 of this Eastern Conference semifinal series. Chicago trailing the Sixers 59-54. Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan doing the job with 19 points. Barkley with 12. Jaminsky. Mahorn with the rebound. Hammered by John Paxson. And Mahorn didn't complain because he understands that's what he dishes out.
A little bit of rough play, grab on, hold.
That's a lot of holding there.
Take a foul. He's a good kid.
Mahorn.
He sure is.
You must have talked to his mother. Third personal on John Paxson. Second team foul. Barkley. Jordan above everyone. King. Stacey King and Tommy, I tell you, that move really does look good. He goes up under control. He said he had been rushing the shots earlier in the season. Now he takes his time and he's more effective.
Well, he sure has it down, but what was effective there was he got up there before any of the Bulls the Sixers big guys.
Hawkins for 3. Percy Hawkins with his 12th point of the afternoon. And it's a 62-56. Philadelphia lead. 9 minutes remaining in the third. Jordan. Grant. Offensive rebound. A little too emotional on the play as he took steps before he followed up with the shot.
But he has been aggressively attacking the offensive board, and he's one of the big reasons why they led in that department in the first half. And he's trying to continue that because that was a big factor.
Dawkins, Hawkins, Barkley, Jaminsky, and Mahorn. The 5 on the floor for Philadelphia. Mahorn and Cartwright going at it. And Mahorn leaning in but can't get the roll. Paxson, nice pass to King. And Stacey King at 6'11", outrunning the 6'3" Hawkins.
Oklahoma basketball. Everybody runs out there.
Billy Tubbs is specialty. Hawkins for 3. Second three-pointer for Hersey Hawkins. And just that quick, he's got 15 points, and the Sixers lead it by 7. Paxson. Tapped out by Mahorn to Barkley. To Jaminsky.
Great look that time by Charles Barkley.
So Barkley is not scoring, he's passing and getting the teammates involved. King out-quicking Rick Mahorn down in the blocks. And boy, is he playing with an awful lot of confidence. Stacey King with 18 points.
Rick Mahorn has not attacked his shooting hand at all.
Now the official reacting to Rick Mahorn, Billy Oakes thinking that Mahorn is going to go back at Cartwright.
I got to get my good spot here. How many times have you seen guys that he was defending end up on the floor? He knows what it's like. But you know what's really funny? They asked Rick Mahorn, they said, why are you guys wearing black shoes? And he said, well, we thought about pink and about lavender type shoes, but we're not that kind of team, pink or lavender.
They are that kind of team. Michael Jordan answering right back. Michael with 21 points. 7-point Philly lead. Barkley.
Boy, he had a clear shot to the hoop that time on Grant.
Paxson better when he posts up like that or squares up, and he nails it. 6 out of 10 times he will do that. John Paxson.
But they're advancing the ball very, very quickly, and Paxson in the corner is a decided option.
And despite the run by Philadelphia and the emotion of the crowd, Chicago trailing by only 5. 6 minutes remaining in the third. Grant, good knockaway. This is Paxson. Blocked by Barkley. And it starts a break. Hawkins for 3.
Kaminsky in the first half. Hawkins with the outside shots here in the second half.
And Billy Oakes catches Rick Mahorn with a little too much aggressive play. He's got the foul.
All-out hustle by Barkley, who created the turnover, saves 2, keeps it in bounds, and they get it up quickly for the three-pointer by Hersey Hawkins.
4th personal foul on Rick Mahorn. He takes a seat as Ron Anderson replaces him in the lineup. Jordan, sweet move. Barkley, good rebound. And Barkley, as he leads the break, is fouled, showing his agility and ball handling moves. Jack Nees whistles the foul on Grant, his 3rd.
Here he comes off the boards with the rebound. Right now, he should have gotten it to somebody else, but they attacked him too quickly and decided, well, I might as well continue on. But there were people open at the wing.
And at least in the film room, before practice, they can say, I made a stab at it, but they didn't go wholeheartedly after Barkley. Anderson. King runs it down, stolen by Hawkins, and hammered by Cartwright. And again, Tommy, the interaction between Cartwright and Hawkins indicates they understand you don't come in for easy layups. Cartwright helped them up.
That's a hard foul, and that's what they said are going to happen in this series. Good steal here by Hawkins. Takes it strong. Their center, the power guy, puts him down. No hurt. But what the intent of all that is by both ball clubs is to let everybody know that you have to watch me at least and take your eye off the basket.
A technical foul was called on Charles Barkley, and Jordan misses the technical free throw. But back at this end, Hersey Hawkins will go to the free throw line after being fouled by Bill Cartwright.
Well, while we were doing that replay, I missed what happened with Barkley, but that seemed like a foolish technical.
And that's one of those indications of what Jimmy Lynam meant. When you take Charles Barkley, you have to take him all.
Take the whole package.
Well, let me correct that. The technical foul was actually called on Jim Lynam, so I'm sure Charles Barkley will say, well, you got to take all of Jim Lynam too.
That's right. Got to take his whole package. What was he screaming about then? Now, Hersey Hawkins has been the emotional part right now, pumping emotion into his ball club. Barkley did in Game 3, and Hersey Hawkins and Jaminski in Game 4.
Dawkins to Anderson to Jaminski. Timeout, Chicago.
You're going to see a classic fast break. Mike Jaminski, the center, fills this wing. Ron Anderson fills this wing. They get the ball into the middle, dribble up against a two-man defense. And do they make that bottom man of the defense react with a good thrust by Anderson on the left wing? Here's Jordan, has to go for that move, and it leaves Mike Jaminski wide open for the layup. great fast break basketball.
And a 76-64 Philadelphia lead. I saw Charles Barkley complaining to the official and thought the technical was on him. It was actually on Lynham. Jim Gray has a clarification.
Just before we went to break, Jimmy Lynham and Earl Strom went after each other, and Earl told me in between the break he's not going to take any more guff from any of the Sixers. He told them they're the toughest team to officiate, and he's not going to take it anymore the rest of the game the next time you're out.
But
JB?
he's only got a couple more weeks. You think he could survive a couple of more weeks?
After 32 years.
Jordan. What a play by Jordan. And Percy Hawkins looking for a jump shot, and he just whisked right by him with the finger roll.
I had asked the Philly players if Hawkins had lost his confidence after game 2 trying to defend the all-world Jordan. They said no, he wanted to come home to give him some of the medicine as well. And Barkley dropping in some medicine. 14 points worth. Balanced afternoon for Barkley. 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. DJ Armstrong, Stacey King, Michael Jordan, Horace Grant, and Will Perdue, the 5 for Chicago.
That's the double team of Jordan in the low post.
Stolen by Philly. This is Barkley.
Well, no hard foul on Barkley. DJ Armstrong saying, I want to be able to get up tomorrow morning.
Armstrong said he was not shying away from physical contact, but give him an A for intelligence on that one. King, an A for effort on the second effort there as he's fouled. Called on, make that the foul called on Mike Jaminski. That's his second personal foul and team 3rd.
Bad block out that time by Charles Barkley. He never really did lay a body on King.
Jordan. Armstrong. Rebounded by Perdue. And the nice thing that Perdue did was to collect himself and get his balance, Tommy.
That's a lot of collecting, too.
An 80-68 Philadelphia lead with under 3 to play in the 3rd quarter. Game 4 here in Philadelphia. Hawkins. Dawkins back to Hawkins. To Jaminski. And Philadelphia staying on the glass as Anderson gets the rebound, knocked out of bounds by Jordan. Bob Thornton comes in to replace Mike Jaminski.
Jaminski has certainly played a whale of a game. His shot started to get a little flat. He's tired. Goes to the bench.
But he dropped in 24 points before getting tired. Barkley, shot missed, rebounded by King. 5 rebounds for Stacey King. And Ron Anderson is going to be whistled for the foul, a little too aggressive on the blocks against Horace Grant. First personal on Anderson, team 4th. Next personal foul for Philadelphia will put them over the limit. Ed Neely replaces Will Perdue for Chicago.
Well, with the insertion of Thornton at the center spot, Phil Jackson has to go a little small himself.
As Jordan draws the foul from Percy Hawkins. And you know, you were talking about intelligent play on the part of Philadelphia and running different defenders at Michael Jordan. Explain that.
Well, what they're trying to do is every once in a while show a different guy, a different look. Hawkins will challenge him up close. Anderson, when he's playing him, backs off. And you like to set up a guy with several different moves, and you get him in a pattern of trying to defend you. When you introduce 2 or 3 players against Michael Jordan, he has to reintroduce a pattern against each player. So that makes it a little bit more intellectual game for Michael Jordan than most players. But he certainly responds to the challenge.
Phi Beta Kappa wise.
Yep.
Full court press by Chicago, and Thornton calls a 20-second timeout as Jimmy Lynham wants to talk with the troops. You see Freddie Carter standing over there with Jimmy Lynham, and Freddie Carter certainly one of the most ready assistants around the league, ready for a head coaching job, and Lynham listens to him. Coming up next here on CBS, the defending world champion Detroit Pistons take on the New York Knicks, and the Knicks playing revitalized ball in the Garden, looking to even that series up. In the Lakers playing against Phoenix. Are you surprised to see Phoenix ahead 2-1 against the Lakers out there?
What's really happening out there is Phoenix is beating the Lakers at their own game, the up-tempo, fast break style, and they've got the younger legs to make that style happen. but they've also got Mark West, who's a big banger underneath the boards. I think he's going to be a key player in that series.
And Jeff Hornacek had a whale of a game yesterday. Many GMs around the league say he's the most underrated player in the league. And what lineup didn't like there? A turnover as Philadelphia throws it away. Usually when you come out of a huddle, a coach would love to see you execute and score. Not like that, though.
Well, they didn't even inbound the ball, obviously, but they've got to solve this press. It was very effective, and the only way you get a team to take it off is attack the basket, make layups. It demoralizes a pressing defense.
And Michael Jordan being defended by Hersey Hawkins. Hawkins with the loose ball. 3-on-2. Barkley. Too hard. Followed by Hawkins.
Barkley has made 3 moves going strong to the hoop and just couldn't put him down.
15 points this period for Hersey Hawkins. He's got 22. And King, fortunate he didn't have the charging call made against him. Instead, whistled for the walk as Bob Thornton showed good defense. And Philadelphia withstanding the charge by the Bulls, lead it by 12 with 1:30 remaining in the third.
King going to his right hand, and they take it away. Thornton playing him that way because what he likes to do is take one dribble in that direction, get you leaning, and then whirl around and use his left hand.
In game 1, of course, Charles Barkley was screaming and hollering at his teammates whom he felt weren't doing the job on the floor. The press here in Philadelphia made a lot to do of it. Barkley called a team meeting prior to practice on Thursday. Now, Tommy, is a lot of that blown out of proportion, or again, is that just one of those matters you take Barkley as he is?
Well, that's a great indication that the team is together. They went in there and they had that discussion. In fact, Jimmy Lynam was standing outside, and one of the members of the press said to him, "What are they talking in there about?" And Jimmy Lynam looked over like, "What, are you stupid or something?" They're talking about the Chicago Bulls. And I would have to believe exactly that was happening. This team is a wacko team in Jimmy Lynam's words, but anything can happen before the game starts. Once the game starts, he says, baby, they put it on the line. And I think personalities on a real good ball club gel, and when they can talk to each other without a coach, that's a good sign.
I wonder if that's a sign that he's working overtime upstairs in his head, getting ice applied to the noggin as opposed to the knee. You know, you mentioned that Lynam said it's a wacko team, and specifically he was talking about the leaders of both Mahorn and Barkley.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. Jimmy Lynam has turned over a lot of the ball club to the players. He's not a dictator here, and that's a great sign because that gives pride of authorship to the various players. It becomes what I call you've got a Cosa Nostra effect, that it becomes our thing. And that's where the Sixers right now are. Even though Charles Barkley pops off, everybody understands on his teammates that he's that type of personality, but he leads by example and by banging and by doing the hard part, rebounding.
Chicago 5, Horace Grant, Michael Jordan, Stacey King, Ed Neely, and B.J. Armstrong.
Well, they take off the zone press and just put a harassing B.J. Armstrong on Hawkins.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Anderson on Grant. And Grant got those long arms up to slightly alter their shot.
What a great block out once again by Neely, as Barkley couldn't smell the offensive board.
Jordan only 9 of 21 from the field. King, that's a high percentage shot.
Right-handed too.
20 points for Stacey King, an opportunity to make it 21 as Charles Barkley picks up his third personal foul.
Well, we'll watch him swoop down the lane right now. It goes outside. They double team, and here's King swooping down from the head of the key wide open. But King, there's a rookie story about him. They didn't like the food on the chartered flight, so they sent him out to get chicken in the box. He went to get it, got in the car, came back, and as he's driving up to the airport, their chartered flight is taken off, and he ends up with 12 chicken in the boxes and had to pay for his plane ticket the next morning. It's what they do to rookies.
And Charles Barkley does what he just did to rookies and veterans alike. And Michael Jordan, equal opportunity abuser.
Does it to guards, forwards, centers.
25 seconds remaining in the third. Philadelphia leading 84-75. Barkley, there comes a double team. Over to Anderson. Good defense by Horace Grant and a steal as a result. Under 10 seconds to play in the third. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong. And he got his confidence when Craig Hodges was out injured. Good pass from Barkley to Hawkins. Jordan. So that's the end of the third period with the score. Philadelphia 86, Chicago 77. And we'll return to the Spectrum after this message and a word from your local station. For the stretch run of Game 4 here, the 1990 NBA playoff coverage between Chicago and Philadelphia. Philadelphia on top 86-77. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
Well, James, Phil Jackson just told his guys in the huddle, we were down 27 points on Friday night. Now we're only down 9. We don't need any kind of effort like that one. We just need to play smart, get back on their fast break, and if we have to take some hard fouls like they do, let's do it. But we can come back. We proved it the other night. James?
All right, Jim, and Michael Jordan was on the bench when this team was down by that far and asked Phil Jackson, let me back in, let's make a run at it. Had trimmed the Philly lead to 3 points, so certainly it can be done.
Scottie Pippen, of course, is not here, and that's going to sap the quickness a little bit at this key juncture.
And a quick defensive move by Jordan blocking the Thornton shot.
He likes to play scrambling defense. Read what's going on and then use his quickness to get in there and defend or steal.
And Bob Thornton smacking Stacey King.
We're going to see a great look by Barkley down inside to Thornton, but there's Michael Jordan just waiting at the pass to cut him off.
Elaborate on Pippen's absence. How do you assess it at this point?
Well, they've had to use all their quickness just to get where they are right now. Again, in that pressing defense, his quickness at the quick forward spot would have been a real plus. Plus his offensive ability.
And Ed Neely showing some offensive ability as he bulls his way in for the score.
You know, sometimes you make a mistake with a guy like Ed Neely. Here's Jordan. They go and double team him, and Barkley's just saying to himself, well, it's Ed Neely. Well, Ed Neely is smart enough to step in when the opportunity is there and make layups. You can't forget about Ed Neely. Neely is a very fundamentally sound player.
Neely forced Barkley into his 4th personal foul, and Chicago has trimmed. The Sixers lead to 6 with 11:10 remaining in the game. Barkley looking to return the favor to Neely. Waiting for the double team. This is Scott Brooks for 3.
That was a big hoop because at pressure defense, taking some time off the clock, take some options out of your half-court offense.
Defensively, Scott Brooks reminds me of a miniature Dan Marley. King. Neely and Barkley doing battle. Neely winning the battle. Boy, you said you can't forget about him.
I'll tell you, you just must get over the top of him. You can out-jump him, but he is a position player, and when you give him an inch, he's going to hold it.
7-point Philadelphia lead. Hawkins, speed advantage over Neely. Can't capitalize. Jordan with the rebound. 5 rebounds for Michael Jordan. B.J. Armstrong back to Jordan for 3. And Jordan, as if he hasn't been warm already, has just dropped in his 30th point, under 10 to play. Well, a great individual battle between Michael Jordan and Hersey Hawkins. Hersey Hawkins with a total of 24, Jordan with 30. And Philadelphia actually doing the job in transition. The score right now, a 4-point lead being nursed by Philadelphia. And Tommy, on Friday night, Chicago showed a very effective trapping defense. You think you'll see it here?
I very much do. I think they're going to scramble around. A scrambling defense is a very gambling defense, and it takes you out of the plays that you would like to use. It makes you find an opening any place on the court, and that guy has to be smart enough to take a good shot. And you can take a player like a Barkley out of the game. I'm sure right now Jimmy Lynam would like to go to Barkley and let him attack Neely.
He's got Neely on Barkley. Neely, 245 pounds, leaning his weight on Barkley. And Barkley draws the brunt of that Neely weight for the foul. And Neely taps him. And again, you see Barkley. He knows it. He dishes it out as well.
Well, he gets the good spot. A little off the box. They play him to the middle, force him to the jump shot. Great fake, and there's Neely saying you're not getting a shot at the hoop. Instead, you're getting a shot in the nose. So right now, the hard foul and evidence, and it's coming from the guys in the red shirts, not the white shirts.
And Barkley returns the shot by dropping in the first free throw. He's got 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks.
But he has not provided the emotion in this game that he did in game 3.
Jordan showing Julius Erving type mitts by grabbing that rebound one-handed. 9:25 remaining. Jordan. Rebounded by Neely, and Ed Neely showing why he played so much in game 3 in place of Scottie Pippen, coming to the fore. 9 points and 6 rebounds for Ed Neely.
Don't take him for granted. He knows how to play the game.
Chicago with a chance to cut the lead to 2 or to tie it with a 3. Armstrong blocked by Mahorn.
And that last rebound, Ed Neely was the guy that tipped it out. I'm telling you, he's playing a whale of a game here.
Jordan over top of everyone.
Well, what do you do on a play like that? He just simply out-leaped everybody. There's nobody up there with him to stop him.
You need a tennis racket to help you on defense with that. 32 points for Michael Jordan, down to a 1-point Philadelphia lead. Barkley stripped by Jordan. Brooks under 5 on the shot clock. Anderson forces it. A fresh 24, and Jordan make that. Barkley is hammered from behind by B.J. Armstrong.
I'll tell you what's going to happen in the next ball game. The way they're manhandling right now, Charles Barkley, every time he goes to take a shot, I tell you, Jordan is going to receive the same treatment. They have been very limited. Watch this, as everybody just wrapping him up on every play and slamming him. And you better expect that in the next ball game that Michael Jordan is going to get the same treatment. He's their superstar, and Barkley has got precious few opportunities to go strong to the hoop.
Johnny Dawkins comes in to replace Scott Brooks, and Horace Grant replaces Michael Jordan at the 8:29 mark remaining in the 4th quarter. Chicago trailing by 1 as Barkley misses that free throw. Barkley only 50% this afternoon at the free throw line, 5 of 10.
You know, that warning for the league to the Philadelphia 76ers, a little crimp in their style. The Chicago Bulls don't feel that it inhibited them whatsoever in what they're doing to Barkley. It worked. It saved 2 points.
Chicago with an opportunity to go ahead for the first time in the ball game, and they do on that Bill Cartwright jumper. Only Bill Cartwright's 4th point of the afternoon, and the Bulls lead it 91-90. Mahorn defended by Cartwright. And Cartwright, the 11-year veteran, pushes Mahorn on the pass.
That was like a rookie move that time by Bill Cartwright. No reason for him to force that play the way he did.
Fourth personal foul on Cartwright as Barkley goes out. So it's Dawkins, Anderson, Hawkins, Jaminski, and Mahorn, the 5 on the floor for Philadelphia. Anderson double teamed and throws it away, so the trapping press paid dividends that time. Chicago with the chance to expand the lead. Under 5 on the shot clock. Armstrong's got to get it up. And the 24-second clock catches him before the basket by Bill Cartwright.
Little trapping double team on Anderson in the corner. Best place to trap. No passing angles. Bad pass way out high as Dawkins never got too close to him.
Dawkins. B.J. Armstrong playing confident basketball. Over to Hodges. And Hodges with the running baby hook. Chicago lead with 6:44 remaining.
When you play the scrambling defense, it takes you out of your set plays. You have to make good basketball moves, find the open man, know that you have a shot.
And Hodges hammered Hawkins from behind. Well, the Bulls said they would approach this game as if Scottie Pippen had a sprained ankle. Thus far, they're right.
Pat O'Brien in New York City with a reminder that coming up you'll see either the Knicks and the Pistons or the Lakers and the Suns in our Sunday nightcap, and sources close to the players are confident.
Those of you lucky enough to see my son Bill play the Knicks today are in for a treat. I'm going over to Madison Square Garden right now, and if they boo him, I'll take care of it.
My son James will do the Lakers teammates proud today with a big game against all those other Suns, the Phoenix Suns.
Thank you, ladies. Let's go back to JB and Tommy. And Tommy, in their prime, who do you think was booed more, Lambeer or Danny Ainge?
I know a lot of guys that get booed. I happen to be one of them, too. But Bill Lambeer really has been a great player. We all know that, and so is James Worthy. My hat's off to their moms.
And Tommy, our hat's off to you, partner. It's been a great run for you, so no boos, nothing but cheers from here. And let's head on over now to Jim Gray.
Jimmy Lynam's been very upset in the huddle over here. He just told his guys that they've totally forgotten the defensive boards and the defensive end. It's just not an offensive game. They've had too many second chances. You guys must get back and play that tough defense that you did in the first half. James?
All right, Jim, and what Philadelphia hasn't had, no field goals and only 1 point in 4.5 minutes of play.
Now, this has got to be Barkley time for the Sixers.
Percy Hawkins, nice move to the basket.
Well, he's pumped up.
And he's going to need it because Chicago has outscored Philadelphia 16-6 in this period. And the Bulls holding, clinging to a 1-point lead. Grant makes it 3. A 95-92 Chicago lead with 5:50 remaining in the contest.
That Grant-Mahorn matchup has been very productive for the Bulls.
Illegal defense called against Chicago.
Ed Neely went down, and once he goes down and crosses that line, imaginary line down the lane, he must go double the ball. He faked that, tried to go back to his man, illegal defense.
That was the first against Chicago. That'll be a warning. Second one will be a technical. I think that word is pronounced technical. Technically speaking. Under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Dawkins will have to make the move.
Once again, Neely does a great job of keeping Barkley off the board.
Ed Neely has really done the job off the bench. 7 rebounds by the veteran from Vanderbilt.
And don't forget, he's playing against a guy who is a great rebounder. His job is not to get rebounds himself, but to make Barkley infinite on the board, to keep him off the board.
And he's playing with the best player in the game, giving him all kinds of opportunities to score. Michael Jordan, that be it. He's got 34 points as Charles Barkley draws the foul. That'll be against Ed Neely, his third. Charles Barkley, only 5 of 10 at the free throw line. He's got 19 points, and he continues to struggle at the free throw line. Only a 60%, make that a 74% free throw shooter. Ed Neely takes a seat on the Chicago bench.
You know, I think one of the things Charles Barkley's going to find out in this series is that you oughtn't to be talking in the paper. You ought to be talking on the court. He did a great job in Game 3. This game right now, he's getting what people would perceive to be his medicine. He's been taking a lot of banging. He's very frustrated right now.
Well, it's been castor oil for him at the free throw line. Only 1 of 6 in the 4th period at the free throw line. Jordan, King, Grant, Cartwright, and B.J. Armstrong, the 5 for Chicago. But it's Michael Jordan's show today. Michael Jordan drops in his 36th point, and Chicago out to its biggest lead in the ball game, 99-92, 4:27 remaining. On top, 99-92 now. Dick Stockton, Hubie Brown, and Pat O'Brien normally call this the At the Table segment. This is our serious Mother's Day segment. Jim Gray, you first.
Yeah, my mom, Lorna, she's in Denver today. Special woman, happy Mother's Day.
And to my mom in Secaucus, New Jersey, Bessie, happy Mother's Day.
And to the lady I call the Sergeant, Mary Ann Brown, happy Mother's Day from all of us here at CBS. And a great game indeed here at the Spectrum. Chicago answering the challenge and trying to reverse a trend that has seen them lose 15 of their last 17 games here at the Spectrum. Chicago on a 19-3 run. And Dawkins running down the middle gets hammered. Foul called on B.J. Armstrong. And take a look at the rebounding. Boy, has Jackson's squad responded.
I will tell you that Ed Neely is responsible for a lot of that, keeping Barkley off the boards. He never really went for rebounds himself, but Barkley in his natural aggressiveness took Neely towards the board, and he denied Barkley a real good shot at it, and Neely ended up getting a finger on several of them and tipping them to a teammate. Well, what a great job Ed Neely did.
And the Sixers continue the struggle at the free throw line. Dawkins. 2-point shot from Johnny Dawkins cuts the Bulls lead to 4 with 4 minutes remaining in the game.
They need a stop right here.
And that's the toughest man in basketball to stop it. It had to be a wet floor to do the job. Michael Jordan slipping on the move. Now, I've heard of moves on the moves before in basketball, but not quite like that.
That's one of those slippery moves.
Kaminsky. Barkley, rebound. And score.
Well, Stacey King and Horace Grant just did not block out Charles Barkley, and he made his presence felt that time. The rebound as Grant, unlike Neely, releases Barkley to try and get a rebound himself. What you got to do against a great player like Barkley is give up your own rebound by stopping him from getting good position to pull one down himself. And Barkley, once he gets inside that defense like that, he uses his power to put it back up. That time, no hard foul.
Important information, Chicago with 2 timeouts and a 20 remaining. Philadelphia with 2 fulls, no 20 remaining. Team foul 76ers with 2. Chicago over the limit. 3:38 remaining, and it's a 2-point ball game. Chicago on top, 99-97. And this is the man with the ball in his hands, Michael Jordan.
And a matchup, Charles Barkley defending Jordan.
He's got Jordan out high. Jordan with the quickness advantage. And he uses it and capitalizes on it. Michael Jordan gives Chicago a 4-point lead.
Well, they got by Barkley, and Barkley was expecting help, but nobody helps enough on Michael Jordan. Watch this step on Barkley. Barkley up challenging him. Quick step around, and his speed, Barkley has to release him. Lifts one man on one side of the basket, but the other side of the hoop wide open. That's what he does. Breaks you down.
Philadelphia fans used to see that move so often for years by one Julius Erving. Dawkins and Philadelphia at the free throw line just not doing the job. John Paxson fouled Johnny Dawkins for his fourth foul. Philadelphia 2 of 9 this period at the free throw line. 3 of 10. And Philadelphia trails 101 to 98.
You know who hasn't been heard from in this game an awful lot is Rick Mahorn.
He's only got 2 points. Paxson on the move. Foul. Take your pick, Mahorn or Jaminski. It looks like it's going to be on Mahorn.
Personal foul, Rick Mahorn, his 5th personal.
And that's 5 on Rick Mahorn, as you saw Jim Lynam expressing his frustration as well. Paxson, 82% free throw shooter on the season, as Ed Neely comes in to replace Stacey King, and Bill Cartwright comes in to replace Horace Grant. Now, the point of those substitutions.
Well, the point being that Neely is going to be keeping Barkley off the offensive glass. He was so effective. And Grant will have to be defended by a much slower man. And that is Rick Mahorn. So they may use that as an option. To give Michael Jordan some other people to play with there.
Barkley wants the ball with Neely defending. And Grant coming over for the double team, bats it out of bounds. 9 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 103-98 Chicago lead. 2:39 left in the game.
Barkley has not been able to make a quick move in the low post on Neely.
Hawkins. Barkley rebound. Fresh 24. Dawkins. Barkley again, and foul from behind. Michael Jordan. And that's 3 personal fouls on Michael Jordan. Chicago, of course, over the limit in fouls. Now, Barkley has been struggling at the free throw line all afternoon. Only 5 of 13. And the drought continues. 5 for 14.
Greg Hodges in for the Bulls right now as an outside shooting threat. Should they start doubling Jordan up the other end?
Barkley had missed his last 6 prior to that make, and it's a 103-99 Chicago lead with 2:23 remaining.
And Barkley, they got Jordan playing a quick forward spot right now, so Barkley has to play him, and Jordan would end up with easy shots like that.
And a quick Horace Grant beating Rick Mahorn to the spot, and a fresh 24. And the clock is the enemy of Philadelphia.
What a time to put the heat on Charles Barkley to play defense against a real quick, great player.
Good hands by Mike Jaminski as he knocks the ball out of bounds. 9 seconds remaining on the shot clock, and under 2 remains in the ball game.
And Jaminski was forced to switch on that play. What a matchup for Jordan to take advantage of.
A 20-second timeout called by Phil Jackson, as Jimmy Clemens, the assistant coach, was all in Phil Jackson's ear that time, calling something that he wanted to talk about. Speaking of that, it was really interesting how you were talking about how both coaches seem to be more participatory in their style of coaching, allowing input from the assistants.
Well, I think that's kind of important, but I think it's also important to let the players have some input on what they think can work. And right now, I have to say that when you're looking at the Bulls, they've got to come up with something right now to kind of put this out of reach. They've got, in essence, 3 guards in there. Michael Jordan's playing a quick forward. Barkley will have a speed disadvantage. And in fact, they've got the speed advantage at 4 positions right now.
Philadelphia has a foul to give, but not like that as Michael Jordan goes over top of Mike Jaminski. And Jaminski with the foul. So Michael Jordan.
Well, right now, he's going out. Barkley trying to defend this man. Mahorn tries to step up and double him. No way. Jaminski trying to get there quick. See you later. But I don't know why they're having Barkley play him. Why don't they have one of the guards play him and let Barkley take Hodges or...
And the chess match continues as Phil Jackson sends in Ed Neely, the defensive substitution, replacing Craig Hodges.
Well, the reason that Anderson is in there right now, he's going to take Jordan.
41 points for Michael Jordan, 14 in this period, and it's a 106-99 Chicago lead with 1:45 remaining. Dawkins over to Anderson for 3. And Neely with the big rebound. Ed Neely with 8 rebounds. He doesn't look pretty, but boy, is he effective.
I'll tell you, he just knows where to be.
So Chicago looking to put itself in the driver's seat, has apparently at this point done so without Scottie Pippen. Jack Nee says it was touched by Philadelphia. John Paxson called for throwing an elbow, and that's his 5th personal foul. Still time for Philadelphia, trailing by 7. Blocking foul called on John Paxson, and he's out of the ball game, having picked up his 6th personal foul. So John Paxson leaves the game with 8 points.
I tell you right now, Phil Jackson has done one fabulous job of coming back, playing an important game without a key player, made great adjustments, put people in what created speed matchup advantages. For instance, Grant in the low post in the early part of the game, and then Jordan at the late stages to force the Sixers to adjust. Barkley ending up with him, and Jordan scoring a key basket against Barkley. A terrific coaching job by Phil Jackson, and a lot of people thought perhaps this Philadelphia club had the wherewithal to go all the way, but they are missing Derek Smith.
Big loss
been
indeed.
a big loss for him because he was a 2-position man also, like Anderson.
And he could at least defend Jordan adequately with his size and strength as Dawkins looks to make his 2nd free throw. And he does. And it's a 5-point Chicago lead with 1:14 remaining. Craig Hodges along with B.J. Armstrong in the backcourt. And Ron Anderson fouling Horace Grant. And Grant, not a bad foul in that. Statistically, only 69% from the free throw line during the regular season.
But here comes Ed Neely in again.
Grant 1 for 7 at the free throw line throughout this playoff series against Philadelphia. Two for 8 and a 6-point lead, so 2 3-pointers will tie it up. Anderson. Dawkins. Neely, number 9 on the rebound chart for Ed Neely. And Hawkins fouls Michael Jordan. So game 5 will be back in Chicago on Wednesday night. And Philadelphia hasn't had much success in Chicago. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games in Chicago as Michael Jordan takes a trip to the free throw line.
When you play a 7-game series, you really try to hold serve. So this is obviously a major accomplishment by Chicago. When you play the first 2 games, on the other team's home court, you hope to come out of there with a 1 win, and that really puts you in a commanding situation. Right now, they're going back to their own home court, and they're up potentially 3-1 with only 41 seconds left to go, and that is tough to defeat.
We've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment.
I don't know.
To an 8-point lead with 41 seconds remaining, and certainly a big game by Michael Jordan. Stacey King stepped up big, but Tommy, our Miller Lite player of the game, off the bench, Ed Neely, 9 points and 9 rebounds. And Light Beer is proud to present a check for $1,000 on behalf of Ed Neely to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. And again, those are numbers with 41 seconds remaining. Fourth period field goal shooting, Chicago 63%. Philadelphia wilted down to 27%.
You know, people say, how can you give it to Ed Neely? Without Pippen being in the lineup today, he stepped up and just did an outstanding job of taking the emotion away from the Sixers by holding down Charles Barkley.
And that's to take nothing away from Stacey King, who started in place of Pippen and gave them 21 points on the afternoon. Percy Hawkins fouling Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan shooting 2.
I'm sure those checks that get printed up for the Light player of the game, whenever it was Chicago, probably had Michael Jordan's name on the press, so they'll have to scramble and find some new type.
It's going to be an awful difficult job for the Sixers now to revitalize themselves emotionally, as they kind of got beat at their own game. Hard fouls by the Bulls here in Philadelphia. That really took a lot away from Barkley's game.
As Michael Jordan tips the pass out of bounds with 13 seconds left on the shot clock, 19.5 on the game clock. Michael Jordan, 45 points, 18 this period, along with 6 rebounds and 11 assists. Once again, a stellar game by Mr. E.T. himself. A fresh 24 as Barkley throws up the 3. And Jaminski, futile attempt, and that'll do it as Chicago moves out to a 3-1 lead in this Eastern Conference semifinal series between Chicago and Philadelphia. Chicago pulls it out 111 to 101. We'll be back in just a moment.